Hello there YouTube and welcome to this tutorial. Today I want to look into doing a fast feudal into Scoutbush. And you might say, wait, you already did a tutorial, right? And yes, that is true. I once did a tutorial on YouTube, but I wasn't really happy with the way it looked and so on. A viewer pointed out some good points, so that is why I'm now revising it. Alright, so that being said, I am assuming that you got the basics of the game down. That you know what the villagers can do, what buildings you can make, and so on. So that is my starting point, and I think that is a good point to start to improving and learning feudal age rushes in order to improve your general gameplay. Alright then, so let's get started. So what I'm basically gonna do is explain you the build order for a Scoutbush. The first thing you want to do is make two houses, one with two villagers and one with one villager. That way you won't get housed, and that's really nice, as being housed just sucks and it will also delay you. So that's one thing. The other thing is that you should try to find your sheep and then get 6 villagers on sheep. So to sum that up, the first thing you do is build 2 houses and queue 4 villagers up in order to get enough villagers on your sheep. So the next thing you want to do, or at the same time really, is get your scout moving. Make sure that you scout the surroundings of your base in order to find your resources, like your gold, your boar, but also your deer. Because finding your deer is important if you want to do a Scoutbush. Now, in order to make your scouting a little bit quicker, you want to use your sheep to scout. And that might seem silly using sheep to scout, but it will actually make your life easier, as you will probably find all your resources a lot quicker. So if you want to make your life a bit easier in that regard, you just get hotkeys on your units, and then you can double tap the hotkey, and then you can just find your sheep much earlier and also your scout. So if you have 6 villagers on sheep, you will need to get 3 villagers on wood. Because of course, eventually you will need wood. And 3 is enough to make all the buildings you need if you want to go for a Scoutbush. After that, you will get your next villager onto the boar. If you don't know how to lure a boar, it's pretty easy. You just shoot the boar 2 times and then run away. But it might sound easier than it actually is, because there can be a whole lot of things that will deny your boar lure. So it might need some practice, but it's really worth it, as it is a lot of food, and also your villagers grab it really quickly. So the next villager should be building a house. As you can see, you should be already at 12 population by then, 13 actually. So by the time this house is done, you can send the villager over to take berries. Because in total you will need 3 guys on berries. And if you don't have enough wood yet, don't worry, just start to take berries already. And by the time you have enough wood, you can start to build the mill. As you can see, it's really important that you just keep scouting. I haven't found all my sheep just yet. You should have 8 in total. But you shouldn't have too much trouble doing this build order with just 6 sheep. So after you got your 3 guys on berries, the next villager should take your second boar. But it depends really on how far away your boar is. If it's a bit further like this, you might delay your boar with 1 more villager. But I would suggest just keeping this build order and get this villager to take the boar. The next one then should go to your deer, and if you feel very confident about your gameplay, you can try to push the deer. But this is really hard. I try to practice it sometimes, but it also, if the deer are really close to your town center, you can definitely try to push them. But I would say if you're starting out with this tactic, just don't worry, mill them, and you'll be fine. So at this point, you will already see 17 pops. So I'm making another house with my lumberjackers, as you don't need your wood just yet. So you need to take your food. So that's why I'm building the house with my lumberjacker. So this situation is not completely ideal, as I'm taking 2 boar at the same time. Ideally, you want to take 1 boar at a time, so that your villagers will take all the food there is, because the boar is slowly rotting away. Then the last one villager, let's see, so eventually you want to get 3 guys on there. I sent the last villager to the berries. And once you did that, you want to make loom. Because not going up without loom is really tricky and maybe even crazy. But you should just take loom. And by that time, you should be almost there. You see me force dropping here and there, force dropping with the deer guys as well. And if you have to force drop yourself a little bit up and idle your TC a bit, that's not too bad. Ideally, of course, you would click up loom and then have enough. But as you may see here, I also had to force drop a little bit here and there to get it to go up. So what you want to do next is make sure that you already built a barracks in the Dark Age. So if you hit feudal, you can make a stable right away, and you can start producing scouts as quick as possible. So that is why I'm sending these guys here to straggler trees. So they can, they can just chop wood. You'll get enough to make barracks, and by the time you hit feudal, you should also have enough to make a stable. So that's something you should keep in mind. Also, one thing that is, of course, really important, and that is absolutely important about this strategy, is that you don't lose your scout, as ideally you want to make 2 additional scouts in your stable, or maybe 3, but usually you will see people do 2. Because 3 is already enough to pick off a villager. But if you have 2, or say your scout died and you only have 2, then you would either have to make 3. It's gonna take you more time to get enough scouts to scout rush. So that's why you want to keep your scout alive. So as you can see, I'm building my stable now, getting that one out as quick as possible, like as soon as I hit feudal age. In the meantime, I'm also creating more villagers. I luckily found all my sheep, so I can just get sheep instead of having to make farms. And that's one last thing I want to say, is that once you get your stable out, you want to make sure that you also have enough wood to get a blacksmith. And I would suggest getting that one as quick as possible. Why? Because the defensive upgrade is kind of essential. It's really important to make your scout brush as nice as possible. So if you have enough wood for a blacksmith, try to get skill barding armor first, your defensive upgrade. And maybe if you like really feel like you're doing a lot of damage, or you want to make your scout brush even more effective, you can do forging. But that is something you should you should carefully consider that, as it is 150 food, and it is a bit tricky to do because you will delay your castle time. But if you're just starting out to use this strategy, then just get skill barding armor. That's for one. And after that, just try to micro your scouts, pick up some villagers or force some idle time on your opponents, and then try to go up. Also, one thing is that if you feel like you have enough wood like this, so you got your stable, you got your blacksmith, and you don't really need more wood, get another lumber camp, just split them, and because that will make your wood line a little bit more efficient. You will get wood a little bit quicker, and by the time you feel like you have too much wood, you can send some villagers over to make farms, as you will of course need farms to go up. So looking at this, I was playing the moderate AI, and usually the AI can't really handle strategies like this too good. So what it will do is it will try to chase or scout with villagers indefinitely. A real player would have probably gone back already, maybe got a pike out, or maybe even walled already. And that is something I want to say as well. Make sure that before you decide to go on scout brush, make sure that you scout your opponent to check if he's walling. Because if your opponent is walled and you do a scout brush, your scout brush isn't really going to be effective at all, and it is very probable that your opponent will be up to castle earlier because he's completely walled in and he didn't have to invest in military. So that is something to watch out for. Alright, so that should be it. That should be a good basis to get you going on the scout brush. Good luck practicing, and I hope that was helpful. See you next time.